back. First Man 2 now, live on Indiegogo. Hello, today I thought I'd look through one of the first drawing books I got on the topic of drawing comics when I was but a youth. Volume 1, Basics, $4.95. Garco Systems presents the Illustrated Comic Art Workshop by Dick Giordano, famous artist, mostly known for inking over at DC Comics and other executive roles over there. Editor-in-chief, I believe, at one point. Frank McLaughlin, a great inker, and John Romita Sr. This whole cover is Dick Giordano's artwork. I remember loving this. Look at the babe right there. All right, let's get into this book, shall we? Let me position it better there. All right. Of course, we have the introduction. This blew me away as a kid. I remember seeing these photos of these guys' studios thinking, oh my God, when I grow up, I'm going to have a studio like that. And now I do. Dick Giordano studio. You've got the big drafting table, the tabaret next to it with his inks and stuff. Shelf, look at that little TV. I love this. This is another angle of his studio. It's weird how the desk is popped out from the wall like that. Growing up in my house, my dad had an old school chair like that. Once again, these tabarets, you can still buy something like this. Shelving with books. I've got so much more stuff in my office than this, it's not even funny. We got Frank McLaughlin studio. Each thing is labeled, by the way. I don't know if they show, let's see. Nope, they don't show John Romita's. Then we go into drawing tools, the type of pencils and such. I wish whoever owned the copyright to this book would reprint it. I believe there's, I've got another volume of it. Yeah, there's 2 volumes. So the second volume will be a different video. I wish somebody, whoever had the rights to these, would reprint them. I should find out who have the rights since I have both books and make quality scans and see if I could print them. That'd be cool. So anyhow, just going through, look at that. Higgins Black Magic. Some things don't change. I mean, this book, Pelican, that's great ink. This book is from what year? 1982. Technical pens, markers, fountain pen. Some of these tools do not change. A brush. Here it says a Winsor Newton Series 7, number 2, 3, or 4. Like I said, I use a Raphael. This is exactly what my drawing table looks like. Mine's wood, old school wood one. I used to have one of the white ones that's laminate that you see now, but I got rid of that because my brother moved into a house. This was years ago. He moved into a house, and whoever owned the house left one of the old school wood drafting tables, so he didn't want it, so I got it, so I can kind of feel like Jack Kirby. Now, if only I had that Jack Kirby magic. Zipatone sheets. This is back when we used to have to cut out Zipatone. Now, of course, you can do it all in Clip Studio. Here's some random tips right here. Of course, stuff like this. Light box. Says how you can build your own light box. I did not do that. Light boxes back in the day used to be like that thick. Now they're thinner. Autograph. You're like, what's an artograph? Artograph, not autograph like a signature, but an artograph. It's an overhead projector where you could place a photograph into it and it would project the photo down onto your table, onto your piece of paper, and that's how you used to transfer photos if you didn't have a light box. Now, once again, with Google Images and stuff, who needs that? File cabinet full of reference. That was something we were told to do back in the Kubert School days. Now, Google Images, don't really need it. Templates, all the different templates, which I have. I have graphic whiteout. A Polaroid camera. Polaroids were great because you could take the picture, it would pop right out for your reference, and you had it right there. Once again, now you've got digital cameras. I'm shooting this video on a digital camera. on my iPhone, actually. So I can take a picture now for photo reference, put it right into my Dropbox. Next thing I know, it's on my computer. So different pen points here. A 170 was a popular point, a 1290, 404, a 107, a 58, a 659, a 290, which is very flexible. I when I was a kid, found all these points and tried them out. I say when I was a kid, but I was more, of a teenager. The 290 has a habit of picking up dust and debris. This tells you about the different points right there. All right, now it's time to learn to draw. Start simple. Let's get into some perspectives. So they get into perspective. It breaks down the center of any square or rectangle may be found at the intersection of an X ruled from corner to corner. So it breaks that down. It talks about how to figure out things proportionally. I thought this was cool, how to break up spaces and such. So it goes into limited perspective, 1 point, 2 point. I think when we turn the page, it'll go into 3 point perspective. Now it's going, maybe it doesn't go into 3 point. Let me see. 2, yeah, I don't see 3 point. Horizon line, eye level it talks about. This shows casting a shadow. This shows the same object off the ground. So here it's planted on the ground, casting a shadow. This is now off the ground, casting a shadow. Shows you how to do figures in perspective. I don't really want to tilt the book because I don't want to lose the camera angle I have on it right now. Once again, just talking about horizon line in the picture plane. There's 1 point perspective here. 2 point perspective. And it just talks about vanishing points and, for instance here, diagram A, they're a good distance apart. So diagram A, you see stuff normally. It's not exaggerated. But when you're this close to somebody, looking at them, it's B. You'll have more of that warped fisheye lens because you're so close to the person. Equal distance space, how to space things out. So if you're doing a wall going in 1 point perspective and it has even spaces, you basically divide it in half, take the center point to the horizon and then cut from corner to this point down and shoot a line up. You just keep doing that and it'll divide the space evenly. Really good tips here for stuff in perspective. This is about throwing a shadow down. This is also for throwing shadows down in perspective properly. Man, I haven't looked at this book in years. This is some knowledge bombs here. Here we go, 3 point perspective. This, reflections. Now, reflections with boxes and stuff is easy. But this is reflections with furniture and stuff. And it's great to see. I mean, look at this glass floor. And the way it's drawn is just perfect with the reflections in the floor. It'd be so cool if this grid wasn't on the floor to see it. Drawing furniture and stuff dropping down is easy. Because it is just, no pun intended, a mirror image. But drawing this way, you have to figure out the perspective. So her foot's here. Perspective line this way to her head. And you drag all these lines over. And then you just have to kind of indicate and draw how it would look in the mirror. It's harder. It's definitely harder. I love this picture frame here, how the depth it has to it. It talks about placement of the horizon line and vanishing points and outdoor scenes and indoor scenes. This is a book that I remember reading through a lot. Ellipses, or circles, I should say, in perspective, which then become ellipses. It shows how to do that. It shows how to do it freehand. Drawing the human figure with John Romita. John Romita, one of the legends of the comic book industry, is going to teach us figure drawing. I love seeing these pencils. These are gorgeous looking pencils from back in the day. He's showing different types of hatching. Now, this is okay. This I disagree with. He says stay away from it. This is just cross hatching. This is more cross hatching. This one I would stay away from because this looks like windows on a building. So this is bad. I would say that's bad cross hatching. These two are fine for cross hatching. Black, solid white, gray, black. I mean, look, cross hatching, white. This I don't mind because if you're really wanting to pull out of a black with cross hatching, you just do a lot of it. Inanimate people. People don't sit like this. That's stiff unless they're told to sit that way. So, I mean, if you're drawing a story where it says the guy's sitting straight up and down in a chair because he's nervous or something, you could kind of get away with that, but this is way more relaxed and better. Drawing the human head. He makes it look so easy. Look, there's no step before this. This is step one. No, of course there's more steps before that. This is one of the problems with the book is he doesn't go into a lot of detail. But you know what book does? Drawing Dynamic Comics by me, Andy Smith. But it's still cool to see how things drop down. You know, the head, he doesn't go into detail, but the head is basically the width of 5 eyes. There's the distance between the eyes of 1. The nose is the width of an eye. The mouth, in How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, if you drop a line from the center of eye down, that's how wide it is. He's doing it a little less than that. How to Draw Women's Head, the John Romita way. It's gorgeous. And then we've got normal proportions. This guy's 8 heads high, and that's realistic. Okay, guys, nobody, except for some basketball players, are 8 heads high. I'm in pretty good proportion. I'm 5'10". If you took a photo of me standing straight up and then measured my head from chin to top and went down like this, I'd be probably 6.5. But this is 8 heads high. This looks like a normal person because the dude's so small. If you actually made the head, if you made the body bigger, as in the shoulders wider and stuff, he would look heroic. I mean, this is really heroic proportions, 8 heads high. Bern Hogarth does 8 heads high figures. I was taught that way in the Kubert school. You'll notice the crotch lines up here, but the butt is a little lower. Heroic proportions, he's got it 9 heads high. Look at this dude. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And the big difference is basically it's on the legs. Because look, head, chin, second line cuts right across the nipples, pretty much the same. Third is midsection, pretty much the same. Fourth is groin. So his groin drops down a little lower, but then line 6 is below this guy's knee, whereas line 6 here is above the knee. So that's really cool. I just love that. So John Romita. And look, you've got the naked ladies right there. Also 9 heads high. And it's all on, it's really the lower legs, because you look at that and that looks like a bigger version of that. But this is like Peter Parker. It's like Captain America. I just love this. I'm looking at this longer because I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because like Bern Hogarth divides from here down as 4. Like I said, Bern Hogarth does 8 heads high figures. So if you look at Bern Hogarth's proportions, it is like right below the knee. And when I draw character's legs, I usually do the division right below the knee like this. But if you look at guys like, obviously, John Romita, I want to say Mike Zeck, Kurt Swan, Kerry Gamble, they do the division more like this, where the 6 line right here is basically right above the knee where the inner muscle, he has the inner muscle right there, but the inner muscle would be dropping right here. And then the knees below it, and then down. Really cool. I don't think this is John Romita here. This might be Dick Giordano going into posing of figures, talking about body weight. This is totally John Romita. I remember as a kid looking at this figure thinking, wow, that looks like Iceman from the cartoon, how they would show the form. But love that. Love this figure. I remember seeing this as a kid, seeing he did the hips on a woman like an oval and trying to do it that way. You can see how he cuts the form. Look, a little corner taken out of the page. Tell you, I had this book since a kid. This looks very Andrew Loomis, putting a figure in perspective. And then he goes into a little bit of constructing a hand. I still remember this oval here. The knuckles sweep around, fingers sweep around just like that. And then just, this looks like Dick Giordano art showing different poses, I guess you could say, of the hand. I love this. Open, close. Here's the thing that's weird, though. He's got this knuckle indication right here for the pinky. And this isn't stuff I noticed as a kid. So he's got this knuckle indication right here for the pinky, right? And then when it folds over, the knuckle goes way down here. But if you look at your hand, this should still line up. So technically, this knuckle bump for the pinky should be right here. But that's cool. It's all good. That's picky. And the pad right here should be poofing off here some, popping off some. But so that's volume 1. Then on the back, we've got Dick Giordano, Frank McLaughlin, Gary Brodsky, John Romita, and Barry Grossman. Barry Grossman, I should see if he's still around to see about publishing these books. That'd be cool. So there you go. That's volume 1. I'll do volume 2 later.
Luke Henry, after kicking Monarch's ass to the depths of space, is back on Earth, and now he's looking to save the world from the Fourth World Foundation. Sure, he had help from Penumbra before, but she's not helping him this time. He's got to face it on his own. He's coming for a villain known as Adonis. He'll do it. You'll be there. Back it now. First Man 2, Learning Curve.